Negotiation is that forward and back process. Decide to reach an agreement when you and the other party have both shared and opposed views. Most of us were taught to negotiate a different way, and that is we had to win. Let's fast forward. It's 2020. How does winning work when you want a long-term relationship? Good negotiation is not about winning. It's about creating more value than 100%.
From the Center for Agricultural Profitability at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, this is FarmCast. I'm Lexi Bullock with the Center for Agricultural Profitability. I encourage you to check out the university's resources at cap.unl.edu. In today's episode, we're diving into one of the most critical parts of any successful land transition: communication and negotiation. Whether you're a landowner or a land seeker, these conversations can shape not just your agreement, but your long-term relationship. Farm and Ranch Succession and Transition Emeritus Extension Educator Allan Vyhnalek will walk us through how to approach those tough conversations, align expectations early, and build agreements that are rooted in trust, clarity, and shared goals.
Hi, my name is Allan Vyhnalek. I'm with the University of Nebraska, and I'm working with the LandLink program as a part of my efforts or job as a farm succession education and transition coordinator. So I wanted to give a relatively short video here, things I think you have to consider and think about as you talk about your communication skills and negotiation skills when you work on your land link between the seeker and the owner. So how often do we negotiate? Well, we negotiate all the time. We negotiate for cars or tractors or equipment, or we negotiate with that salesman. And you also got families that you have to negotiate with. And to be true, the landowner is going to have their own children to deal with as they try and figure this out. Really, what we're talking about here is negotiating a business deal between this land seeker and this landowner. Negotiation is that forward and back process. Decide to reach an agreement when you and the other party have both shared and opposed views. However, most of us were taught to negotiate a different way, and that is we had to win. Now, let's fast forward. It's 2020. How does winning work when you want a long-term relationship between a land seeker and a landowner if we've been taught and we have to negotiate and we think we have to win? But the other thing I got to throw in first is to get you to understand that negotiation is not about pure back and forth to figuring out where we need to be. If we want to negotiate, we need to listen well. If you're worried about how if you're listening properly, think about it this way. Repeat what's being said. Listen for feelings. Avoid prejudice. Avoid distractions. Use positive body gestures. Ignore phone calls while you're having that conversation. Ask clarifying questions. In other words, did I hear you say that you were out working some of the fields today? And what were you doing out there? And why did you choose to do this? And what made the timing for that operation right? Because if we show proper appreciation and empathy, then we have a chance of getting them to listen to us. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. The keys to negotiation success, in addition to the communication, good negotiation is not about winning. It's about creating more value than 100%. And here's some things to think about. The landowner may be paying for a chemical supplier to apply pesticides, so much per acre. But maybe the land seeker has that skill, and they can take that over and save everyone some money there because they've applied labor. There's lots of situations where land seekers could do that. Now, maybe the landowner may have grain bins that could be included in the lease or included in the operation or included with their deal so that we reduce the land seeker's storage costs. The landowner may have housing on owned properties that the land seeker can utilize, so either reduced rate or free or whatever, however you want to deal with that. The land seeker might prefer to rent using a fall payment for the crops, which is done after harvest instead of paying rent before, which helps reduce their interest costs and just gives them a better deal overall. And the landowner may work with a land seeker to write a long-term lease. I think that long-term leases are really valuable and to get this land seeker started to ensure that if you want that land seeker to continue to operate your operation, even if you're gone, what does that look like and how we can create that? Now, when we're talking about negotiation tips, I think we have to make sure that we don't get caught in one of these emotions that tend to screw up negotiations. In the vast majority of the time, if we have negotiations that go bad, one party doesn't feel like they're being appreciated. And so one important tip is to make sure that you show proper appreciation to the other party. All people want is to be appreciated, meaning are they being listened to? Are we given proper affiliation? Are all parties being treated as adversaries, or are they being treated as colleagues? Are we trying to create that win-lose situation, which would be an adversarial situation, or are we trying to create win-win, which is more of a colleague situation? Let's think about how we treat people with affiliation. So appreciation and affiliation are two key parts of making this work. And think about how you're going to set aside some of the things you've been taught about negotiation and work in this manner. And then the other thing is autonomy, status, and role. Autonomy, status, and role tend to go together. Autonomy, are you free to make decisions, or are you being blocked? Do you have the control of that, or do you not have control of that? A status, are you treated as an inferior or given full recognition? If you're just going to treat somebody as an inferior rather than equal status as a partner, that creates hard feelings. And role, are you fulfilled with the role that you have? And help us, and we have to expand their roles and expand their status. We have to expand their autonomy and give them more decision making. The other caution I want to throw into you as you consider these 5 emotions is that for autonomy, status, and role, us old people tend to treat the younger generation with incorrect autonomy, status, and role. We tend to look down on them. We tend to not give them serious status. We tend to diminish their role. And we also, the older generation, well, maybe all generations, have a gender bias. We have to make sure that we show that we're listening, we give a proper appreciation, affiliation. We have to give them status, role, and autonomy to do the right things so we can make this negotiation go properly. Remember, we have to listen and to have effective communications, and effective communications about 80% of the negotiation. Don't negotiate like we were taught, or don't negotiate the way I was taught. Always find more value. How can we create value to make it an easier transition from the land seeker to the landowner, and landowner back to land seeker? Always look for the win-win. This is not a win-loss deal. This will be a win-win deal, because the land seeker is trying to get access to land to produce agricultural products, and the landowner is looking for someone to take over their operation. So let's get together and figure out what that looks like and make this work best. Again, I'm Allan Vyhnalek. I am an extension educator for farm succession and transition. I'm helping to coordinate this LandLink thing. If you need more information or need to know how to contact me, just look at that LandLink website, and my contact information should be there. I'll be glad to visit with you about this or any other topic that you have, or any other questions you have about the whole entire LandLink program. And thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it.
You can find more information and resources regarding land transition at the Center for Agricultural Profitability's website at cap.unl.edu.